football preview portion of the show. Of course, Jeff Gorman, Ryan Ruiz, both still to come later with their respective Browns discussions. But let's talk a little Cavaliers. Preseason ends for them. They're now getting ready. Next Thursday, this thing starts off. Eddy Jansen, who writes about the Cavaliers for More Than a Fan Cleveland, he's been with us throughout the preseason. Some good conversations. We'll talk today, see where he's at the end of the preseason, talk a little Cavs hoops, talking some Browns coming up, and so much more. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Eddy Jansen, More Than a Fan beat writer, talking Cavaliers hoops when we come back.
When it comes to Cleveland sports, we go from
"You can't touch this"
to
"I can't watch this."
So listen to The Fix. It's easier on the eyes.
Guys, want to take just a second as we head into this break and remind you about the official business printing source of the Sports Fix, our friends at Signs and Ship. Signs and Ship, I'm telling you, Chris and Pam, they've taken care of me since day one, and they can do the same for you. Whether you're a small business that's already been established and you're looking to grow to that next level and expand your business, or perhaps you've got an idea that you just know is going to be a great business and you need to figure out how to brand it and how to promote it and put it out there, Signs and Ship is the place for you. If you need a logo, they can create one for you. They have a fantastic graphic designer. Business cards, signs, banners, yard signs, mobile advertising, anything you can think of that you need to promote your business, they've got it at Signs and Ship. The best thing about them, too, is each of their locations, whether it's the home base here in Elyria, Ohio that I work with, or their spots in Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania, it's all local sourced. Very important to me because we all understand that small business is the lifeblood of the community. So check them out, signsandship.com, or call Chris and Pam today, 440-323-6060, the home office in Elyria, Ohio. Signs and Ship, quality printing at affordable prices.
Hey everybody, this is Jerry the King Lawler from WWE, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Fantasy sports lovers, you put so much time, hard work, and effort into playing week to week that it quickly stops being a fantasy and starts getting real. Real time spent making real decisions, creating real victory.
I'm the greatest man in the world!
And when the smoke clears, you want to show off those victories with a real prize.
I mean, a really real prize.
Yeah. Nobody does that like Fantasy Jocks. The crew over at Fantasy Jocks have beautiful, high-quality, and heavy-duty championship belts, rings, trophies, and so much more for all your fantasy sports needs.
The trophy's 12 feet high, and it is glorious!
Football, baseball, hoops, you name it, they have it. Plus, they have awesome draft kits and party supplies to make all your preseason activities the envy of everyone. If your league needs a ring, belt, or trophy, or you want to upgrade what you already have, there's literally only one place to go. If you're going to be a fantasy jock, do it right.
It's mine, the most magnificent belt ever created, and it's mine.
With America's Fantasy Sports Superstore, FantasyJocks.com. The Sports Fix is on iHeartRadio. Download the free iHeart app today. Subscribe to the show and get your fix.
Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your automotive car care needs. They're your neighborhood quick service experts. They also offer a low price tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. They're open late Monday through Thursday until 9 p.m. and open early Saturday so you can check it off your to-do list and get on with your day. They also have a newly remodeled service lounge and additional service bay just for Quick Lane oil changes. Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck is located at 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. Come see why life is better in the Quick Lane. QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck. That's QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Come on, Cavs. Gotta make it happen. Come on, Cavs.
care how old that song gets, I'll never stop jamming to Come On Cavs. Real quick, too, I before the break, I was talking a little bit about the various combination of my children and people listening to the show in delay, and then me getting the numbers back, weeks and months later, even more than the real-time stuff. And you know what? You guys that listen every day know that there was a day maybe 2 weeks ago where my son, obviously some stuff happened behind the scenes, and I kind of was talking about it at the opening of the show. I wasn't really clear about it, but I was talking a bit about, I think I might have said something along the line of, if you have kids, sell them. If you don't. But anyways, it was a fun, I was just kind of venting a little bit. But speaking of people listening in delay, I'm talking about people that know me in real life. Over the last week and a half, I've gotten 3 different text messages, a couple of days apart from each other, where somebody asked me what the deal was with my son. And it's a person that knows me in real life, but also listens to the show on their own, and clearly not in real time, obviously in delay. And I didn't figure it out until a couple of them in a row. And then I'm like, hey, how did you know? Because I would think, and I'd be like, I don't remember telling so-and-so about, what happened. And yesterday, somebody texted me and goes, well, I was listening to the show. I finally got a chance to catch up on the last couple weeks, and you were talking about it. And I was like, oh, man. But, yeah, even my own friends listen to it, in delay a week. But I thought about it, and I said, man, I hung little Jerry out to dry a little bit, man. Obviously, 3 different people come to me and go, hey, man, what your son do? You were talking about it on the show. I said, man, I got to be careful because him and his little friends probably listen too. And so anyways, not trying to throw the boy under the bus. I will be more careful. But I just got a kick out of it because I just did another one last night. And I was like, who told you about that? I don't remember telling you about that. It's like, you didn't. I heard it on the Sports Fix. So anyway, all right, guys. Speaking of hearing things on the Sports Fix, we're going to hear from Eddy Jansen, my man here, more than a fan Cleveland writer about the Cavaliers. You can't call because he's on the phones, but you can keep it rolling. Facebook, Twitter, email, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix, CLE, all one word. Email the Sports Fix. EddyWell.com. Eddy Jansen's got your phone lines taken up. Let's talk a little, Cavaliers hoops. Eddy Jansen, how you doing, my man?
Happy Friday to you, Jerry. Pleasure to be back.
That's the best way to start it right there. Happy freaking Friday is right. Not just to me and you, to everybody out there. Let's do this, baby. How you feeling here? Cavaliers wrap up the preseason. Now they got a week here, a little bit different, a longer stretch than some teams have to get themselves ready. But how are you feeling today? First off, not just basketball, but in general, man.
I tell you what, I'm feeling great, Jerry, and the sun is shining finally on Cleveland. It took us all week to get there, but needless to say, it's hopefully going to serve as an indicator for future events coming to the Cleveland sporting scene in the next week or so.
You need to text me your address. I don't know where you live. The sun is not yet shining in my part of Cleveland. I just looked out the studio window. I'm like, what's he talking about? What side of town does he live on, man? I'm not experiencing this sunshine, but Cleveland is. Thank you, Keith in the chat room says the sun's not shining there either. I'm not alone. All right, man. Some of us don't have sunny days. Thanks for rubbing it in, Eddy Jansen.
Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, maybe the special people get it. Who knows?
Oh, so now you're special because you get the sun. I like it, man. That's cool, man. All right, Cavaliers, they wrap up the preseason, and I see so many people, and I don't want to, obviously, I've said this a lot. There's going to be a lot of good times. There's going to be a lot of fun basketball to be watched here. Overall, should be a relatively successful season no matter what the final is. But we've seen the preseason, and I think especially in the final game of the preseason, we really got an idea for what teams are going to try to do to beat the Cavaliers and for what style teams are going to be successful against the Cavs. And what I've cautioned people all along is that much like the Miami Heat, and they evolved into a team that learned how to win in the postseason. But from day one, they were a video game regular season team. They'll get out in front of the 76ers by 50 points. They're throwing up those NBA Jam style triple alley-oops and stuff, all the highlight reel stuff. That's where the rank and file, the good teams, do that all season long. I always say for the rank and file teams, the regular season matters. For the top teams, like the really top teams, the regular season is one giant preseason practice for the postseason. But that style that Memphis plays, that physical Indiana, that physical grind it out, beat you up style, that's what you deal with in the playoffs. And that's the part that I think this Cavs team is going to have to learn through the fire this year to deal with. And they're not going to be able to even start learning until the playoffs.
Yeah, it's absolutely right, Jerry, and I think that it was really fortunate that the Cavaliers had Memphis to end their preseason because of the way in which they play. I mean, they are a grinded-out, half-court, play defense and low-scoring type of team. It's really a great way for the Cavaliers to learn how to play that way, and it's a really good way for Coach David Blatt to figure out where this team lies, toughness-wise. I mean, you have some, nitty-gritty players, your Anderson Varejãos, your Dion Waiters, but I think it's really good for guys like Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving just to watch, the way that those guys play and really take it to the next level with that toughness and that physical beast-like mentality that they're going to need to have that athleticism come playoff time.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Kevin Love. I talked about the article he penned yesterday that we were reading a little bit of it, excerpts on the air about what he did over the summer. But he talked about that trip to Brazil, and he not even putting LeBron James into the equation. He talked about being able to sit with guys like James Jones and Mike Miller and just have them tell him how much the true sacrifice is in the playoffs. And Kevin Love, and really, I have a soft spot for athletes that can put their ego aside and be real. So many of them are afraid to do that. And I know what it takes for a guy to go, hey, I need to get better, and really mean it. And what Kevin Love said was similar to that. He said, hey, I look back and I realize I didn't have what it takes to make that sacrifice when I was 21 or 22 and all that. And you could say that whether LeBron when he was here before, whatever. But I like to see that stuff because it's going to take a lot of that for this thing to work. I want to ask you a question. I mean, everybody focuses on the good, and the offense is definitely going to be explosive at times. I mean, they're going to pass the ball. It's going to be some really, I like what Terry Pluto said. He said, regardless of how many games they win, it's just going to be very pretty basketball that we're going to be watching the Cavs play a lot of nights. But I'm sure you looked at the preseason, just like many of us, with questions, and the Cavs answered some of those. You go, wow, they're going to score some points. Wow, they're going to pass the ball and get some rebounds. What are some questions you still come out with that you want to see how they do during the regular season and then once it gets into the postseason? How are some that you may have answered and some that you now have coming out of the preseason?
Well, Jerry, I think the number one question that has been on many people's minds, it's been on my mind for the previous year and the year before that, is are Kyrie Irving and Dion Waiters going to be able to play guard together? We've been waiting a couple of years for that question to be answered, and it's still a work in progress. I don't think we're going to get a definitive answer until we get deep into the regular season. But Mike Brown from a season ago saw Dion Waiters as more of a sixth man. I think more people in the Cavaliers organization see Dion Waiters as a guy to bring some electrifying scoring off of the bench. David Blatt, on the other hand, he sees, the ferocity with Dion. He sees a will to defend atop the arc. So, it really seems as if we can kind of pencil in Dion Waiters into the starting lineup and that he's going to see a lot of minutes alongside Kyrie Irving. Now, obviously, the equation is much, much different from a year ago because last year it was just Kyrie and Dion and who was going to get the ball there. Now you throw LeBron James and Kevin Love into the equation, and Irving and Waiters become the third and fourth best scorers on this team. So, going forward, I'm not even really sure if the question itself is really going to matter, because you push those guys to the side, and they'll be happy with any offensive touches that they'll be able to get.
Yeah, I hear you. And the Deion on the bench thing is something I've talked about in years past. I love him, and I like him as a starter too, man. But, man, I see what a lot of other people see in the Cavs organization as far as the ability to have a guy that can play